It's the voice of Atlanta sports fans. Sports Talk ATL Weekend Edition is ready to roll.
Welcome back into the Sports Talk ATL Weekend Edition. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex. I'm back. I missed you, buddy, but Aspen was fun, I will say.
Good to have you. Somebody had to hold it down. Somebody has to go to work. I guess it was me.
Yeah. In Indianapolis, the Falcons are there. NFL Combine. As much as they are looking at these athletic traits, those interviews are just as important. Which one would you say is more important, the interview or those athletic traits? Because I know everybody is wowed by what happens and these guys running 4.2 4-yard dashes and jumping out of the building. But I think those kind of things are a little overrated, in my personal opinion. I think you can learn just as much by speaking to these guys one-on-one.
Yeah, I think that finding out what makes a guy tick is more important than, how fast he runs a 40, how high he jumps, how far he jumps. Because football is not played with a stopwatch. It's between the lines, and most of the time, it's all up here.
I remember when Derrick Henry ran his 40 around 4.5, 4.6, even though he was like 245 pounds. We were like, that's a little slow for running back. Let's take him in the second round. It's like, did you watch this guy at the University of Alabama? What goes on in between the head, especially when you're talking about quarterbacks, even though the Falcons aren't going to be looking for a quarterback, is far more important, and then what they have in here far more important than what you see on those speed clocks. Terry Fontenot talked about some of those interviews with our own DJ Shockley and what the Falcons are looking for.
You guys have 20 minutes to sit down with different players and have those conversations. What are some of the things that you look forward to finding out about these guys that gives you a little knowledge of who they are and what they're about?
We want to be really efficient and effective in these meetings. So what we do is we spend time on the makeup. We get any questions answered we need to know. You want to really get a feel for the player, get a feel for his passion for ball, because it's not just about players that are good human beings and all those things. We also need guys that love and are passionate about football. We want guys that are angry after you lose games, and they're going to do whatever they can do to help the team win.
I'll tell you what, Alex, can anybody talk better than Terry Fontenot? Between Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris, we have the best salesmen in the sport. I don't think there is any doubt when you put those guys in front of a camera and ask them to talk ball or talk anything, man, I'm listening.
A couple of silver tongues, nonetheless. I mean, these guys can sell ice to an Eskimo. But he's totally right. He didn't say anything wrong right there, because at this level, everybody's elite. Everybody was the best at their high school. Everybody was the best at their college. Everybody was the best at their conference. The margin between these guys is so razor thin that the difference between somebody who's a first-round bust and a Hall of Famer, it's all between the ears.
And these interviews, it's going to be very, very interesting, because this is something. I need this tweet up on the screen from D. Orlando Ledbetter of the AJC, and you're reading this correctly. The Atlanta Falcons are all 45 interviews that you're allowed to have with NFL Combine invitees are going to be on the defensive side of the ball. Now, Alex, there are two ways to look at this, right? And I'll start with the good way, just to give some of these guys some good grace before we really grill them for this goofy way of thinking. That we have been begging here on this show every single week. I've said it a million times. Use all your resources on the defense. We only got 5 draft picks. We don't have a full allotment of draft picks because of tampering and trades. Use them all on defense. Every free agent dollar. This defense needs so much work. It has been in the bottom of the third of the league for as long as I can remember. But the offense, totally overlooking the offense.
I mean, this is just absolutely absurd stuff. From, I don't want to bash these guys too hard, but, they're making it really hard. Every single week, seemingly, these guys throw pie on their own face. Like, it doesn't have to be this complicated. They don't have to go out of their way and kind of be like, oh, we have to address we knew it was the defense. Every single interview is going to be with a defensive prospect. That is so goofy, I cannot believe. From an NFL organization, nonetheless.
And what happened to best player available? I think that's the most interesting aspect. Every time Terry Fontenot got up here and talked about, yes, he used that silver tongue that we talked about just a few minutes ago, but all he said, best player available. And obviously that thing didn't work. It didn't necessarily work, but a lot of good, that's what you hear from the Ravens. That's what you hear from the Eagles. I mean, look, they take the best guy that falls right into their laps. Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter, whoever it is, and that's why they've had so much success. So that way of thinking is correct. Now, it hasn't worked for the Falcons because they haven't evaluated talent correctly, but that doesn't mean you just say, but I think there's something bigger here, and this is really what I want to say. Are these guys coaching for their jobs? I mean, because that seems like, because there are issues. If you look at this offensive line, Drew Dahlman, the starting center for the team, is a free agent. Now, you can replace him easily with Ryan Newsel, who looked pretty good, but Caleb McGarry is a free agent after the season. Jake Matthews, if you're strictly looking at the defense, you're trying to win next year, and why would that be when you know you have this albatross of a Kirk Cousins contract? It's because these guys know their jobs are on the line. This team needs to win next year.
It's incredibly short-sighted. It's incredibly short-sighted. If these guys knew that they were going to be in Atlanta for several seasons after 2025, they might be starting to think like, the long-term blind side of Michael Penix might be important. It's not Jake Matthews, people. It's Caleb McGarry. And while he is serviceable and he does get a lot of undeserved hate, in my opinion, he is certainly not the long-term answer. It is arguably the most important position on offense other than quarterback.
Yes, but we have to flip the script real quick because something else came out at the NFL Combine. And it is the Atlanta Falcons. Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris said they were surprised by the comments from Kirk Cousins. Now, if you're not know what I am talking about, it's Kirk Cousins saying he was injured after the Week 10 loss to the Saints. This is, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say exactly what it is. This is a lie. It's not true. There is no way this team saw Kirk Cousins play for 5 weeks and did not recognize that he was injured. That is absolutely impossible. And in fact, if it is true, it's even worse because you saw him play when we're sitting on the couch, just two average guys, maybe enjoying adult beverage. No, we could tell, hey, that fastball, it's lost not just a little zip. He can't throw out the numbers.
If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. I mean, this isn't anything new from this organization. That's the worst part is over and over. And you can go back to the Matt Ryan, Deshaun Watson debacle, how they weren't really interested in, they were all in. You remember that picture of Deshaun Watson with the Falcons jersey in the background? Yeah, they were never close. This is just more of the same from this organization. And honestly, Chase, they did the right thing because the alternative, like you said, that they didn't know is way worse. It is way worse. If two idiots, like you said, fat, drinking a beer maybe on the couch can see that Kirk Cousins has lost a couple of miles per hour on his fastball, then the guys who see him every single day at practice who are far smarter. We criticize them up here, but they are far smarter and more knowledgeable about football than us.
There are too many guys in this building that would have had to just overlook the fact. And frankly, guys, let's not forget, Kirk Cousins was on the injury report after Week 10. He called it a clerical error. Yeah, I'm sure, buddy. And for those that are upset with the possibility of Kirk Cousins lying to the organization and saying he might have been more healthy, it's the job of the organization to realize that their players is healthy and understand that they have a quarterback in the twilight years of his career that is never going to give up his job when he's got the 8th overall pick behind him. He's never getting that job back. He knew it. He saw Michael Penix in practice. Everybody saw it. Everybody seemed to know what was going on, except for the people in charge.
Once Pandora's box is open, it doesn't close. The thing that Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot are probably hiding from, it is that they botched this quarterback situation, going with a 75% Kirk Cousins over 100% Michael Penix. Probably cost them a postseason berth.
Yeah, it is very, very disappointing, and that's a decision the Atlanta Falcons are going to have to make very, very soon. But coming up after the break, we have a lot more NFL draft talk. Kyle Pitts, Joel Embiid. Stick with us.